think our guys have been practicing well. They've been very competitive. We took the lessons that we learned from that game, and it's about getting better.
When you look back at practice, at the film from that game, what did you see that you were more concerned about than what you experienced during the game?
Well, I mean, they played well, and we knew we could play better. And so the things we took away from is some execution things toward the end of the game that we could have done. It was a really good game, but at the end of the day, I mean, they made some big shots. I mean, Dunn hit a great shot. The kid Hicks hit a big three. So coming in the last 30 seconds, they got 2 threes that were contested that they knocked down. And so you have to give them credit for that. And so a tough loss for us and a good win for them.
Memphis is one of the better teams in the American, top 4 teams. What do you think their biggest challenges they pose to you guys?
Well, they're long, they're athletic. They have some experience with Williams and Quinez and all of their players that they had that are back from last year. So they're a talented basketball team.
How did you use the time off? You didn't have that game Saturday. How did you make use of that time and make it effective for your team?
We watched film. We were able to get in and have a few practices, and so we tried to be smart about it. We didn't want to, just overly wear our guys out, with a week of being off from a game. So we tried to make sure that we practiced, and then we wanted to give them a break, and then started back up our practices again today in preparation for Memphis as well.
That game was canceled or postponed, I guess, because of COVID within the Tulsa program. But how are you guys as a staff continuing to educate your players, about the Omicron variant and what's out there?
Well, we've told our players that we want to act like everyone has it. And I think that's the best way to approach it. If you do that, then you'll take the precautions of social distancing, washing your hands, wearing your mask when possible. So those are things that we try to encourage our guys to do as they go forward.
You're familiar with Memphis. What's the mark of a Penny Hardaway team?
Aggressive, fast-paced, and good defensively.
Isaiah Adams, he hasn't exactly had the same amount of impact he's had early this season compared to last year, I guess, when he was on fire and really making an impact. What do you think he needs to change, or what do you think needs to happen for him to get going?
He needs to stop pressing and let the game come to him. Like most young players, especially in his sophomore year, oftentimes, coming off of a year like he had, your expectations are to even do more, and then you have to remember, you've been scouted even more now because they had a year to kind of learn all about your game. And so you have to continue to grow. And part of your growth is actually what he's going through. I mean, I think Duran went through that a little bit last year as a sophomore, and you see the kind of jump he's made as a junior. So it's just the natural maturation of a player in the collegiate athletics.
After the back-to-back losses that you've experienced, what have you seen from your seniors and the leaders on your team?
I think our leaders and our seniors have really stepped up. They talked about what they want to do. We're going to rally around those guys. Those are our guys. I mean, they've been the ones who are the most experienced, and so we trust them in game situations, and we rely on those guys. And so they said some good things. Both Brandon and Darius Perry both talked about, the need to be better, and we're going to follow that lead.
Dre Fuller has had his moments here and there this season, but he isn't playing as many minutes as he was last year. Is that just because of the depth on the team, or the overall talent amount of players you have?
No, absolutely. It's the depth that we have, and so the opportunities that present itself for him. It's a long season. We're 13 games in, so with that, I mean, Dre's going to get his opportunities to get out there and contribute, and I'm sure he's going to make the most out of it.
You talk so much for so many years now about defense. What is it that your team needs to do better defensively than they've done so far, especially these last 2 games?
I think we got to do a better job of really just keeping the ball in front of us. Keeping the ball in front a little bit better, keeping guys out of our paint.
I think it's been a good, we kind of let some stuff out in our practices and stuff, and getting a lot of stuff that we need to get out that's internal with us that we need to get out. So I feel like we had a good week of practice, and we can come back more focused, because sometimes you need something to refocus you. So I feel like we come back even better and a little bit more preparation.
13 games into the season. Do you feel like teams have maybe scouted you more and learned more about your game compared to last year as a freshman?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they have. I had a good freshman year, and I know for my part, there's a lot of stuff that I can do differently this year, like ball decision with basketball, which I had some problems with, but I just feel like going through the year, it's gonna come. I'm too good of a player to be sitting out there, so I just feel like I just keep working, and it's gonna come around from me.
What's that feeling like, though? Is there a frustration for you in not being able to play the game the way you want to?
Yeah, it is a frustration going out there knowing that I can help the team in different ways, and me just finding where to go now instead of just going like any time, but just being more patient out on the floor. That's what I have to be more, and the coach tells me about it all the time. So I'm just trying to stay more patient and not let everything just come too fast for me.
You guys have Memphis on Wednesday, one of the preseason favorites, ranked to begin the year. I know they dropped an early game, but they've been on a little winning streak in conference. Just beat Cincinnati last night. What's the early scouting report on these guys?
We know they're gonna come in and play hard like they do every time we play them since last year. They're gonna come in, pick you up, and we're gonna come back and do the same thing because we play the same way. So we're just gonna come and we're gonna try to outwork them, and that's gonna be the goal: outwork them and play hard.
Do you know much about Penny Hardaway? Did you ever watch videos of him on YouTube when he was a player?
Yeah, I watched Penny Hardaway when he was with the Magic. Yeah, I watched him a lot. I like his game.
When you have these back-to-back losses like you've had, what's the conversation amongst the players? What are your leaders saying?
More so in the locker room, we talk about just staying locked in and don't letting two games be the downfall of the team or letting it just crumble the whole team. We just make this where we come more together. And we've been preaching that a lot for the past week after the loss, and we've just been talking about just coming together and staying together as a team and make sure in practice that we go even harder so we can be more prepared for the games.
Is there a pressure now on you to win on Wednesday against Memphis after these losses?
It's always some pressure to win the basketball game, especially when we want to play and where we want to go. It's always some pressure because you have to win in order to get to the levels that we want to be at, and we already know with the record that we have and stuff, it's going to be a target and people want to come after us. So we just got to come with a better mindset than we did for the past two games, and I believe we will.
I feel like we want to play right away, make up for our losses, but we have been getting together and working on everything that we had lost from.
How has the team responded from the Temple loss in practice this week or in film room or however?
I say very well. Everybody going hard. I feel like communicating more and getting ready for this next game against Memphis.
What's the conversation amongst the players? I mean, you're a leader on this team. When you have these kind of losses, what is it you or others are saying amongst your teammates?
What's going on? Like, what can we make? What can we do to make the next game happen? Like to win, and what's our errors? We got to fix all our errors and mistakes that we got.
What can you do?
What can we do? I say we can communicate harder. Communicate more, and play harder, and play like we got something on our back. What we do.
You got Memphis coming up on Wednesday. They're one of the best teams in the conference, one of the preseason favorites. And they got some NBA guys probably on that roster. What do you kind of know, and what do you got to do well to beat them on Wednesday?
I feel like we just gotta lock in on defense, lock in on our keys, and play hard, and we should come out with the dub.
You know much about Penny Hardaway as our coach? You ever watch YouTube videos of him as a player, or do you know much about Penny Hardaway back during his playing days? Or?
I heard about his playing days, but I never watched him on YouTube or anything. But I heard about him; he was pretty good. So it's good playing against him.
Brandon, against Temple, you were maybe off at first, but down the stretch you helped the team come back and you didn't win. But what do you think you have to do to get going earlier in the game, as opposed to the Temple game?
I gotta stay more aggressive. I feel like, and lock in on the keys on the defense and keep playing hard.
How do you think that will help with consistency in your game to game, seeing sort of output the weekend when you really get the
I feel like it's gonna come with me being aggressive and stay in attack mode and keep helping my team out on the defensive end.
We were just talking with Isaiah Adams. It seems like teams have figured him out a little bit more than when he was a freshman. Now a sophomore hasn't been as productive, but it's only 13 games. But as a senior guy who's been there, what do you tell him as a younger player?
Keep being aggressive and watch film on like the defense and see when you can score, what areas you can score in, and keep playing hard. It's gonna come.
School is back in session this week, so hopefully that means there's bigger, nightmare student section. Are you looking forward to hopefully a better atmosphere on Wednesday?
Definitely looking forward for a better atmosphere because we need the fans. We love the fans. We need all the energy.